Hello and welcome back to my channel, Boozy Bookish Thoughts. I'm Justine, or Jay if you prefer, and welcome to my first wine and book night of 2023. Yay! So for today we are doing the Grand Noir Pinot Noir. That's what the label looks like. There's the price tag. It was around 700 pesos, Philippine pesos, which is around 14 US dollars for reference. I don't know where you're watching this from, which is actually pretty cheap for a Pinot Noir. Most Pinot Noirs here will range from close to 800 pesos to well over 1,000 pesos. So when I saw this, and when I saw this in a specialty wine shop, which I dropped by really randomly, and I was like, hey, French Pinot for 700 pesos, that's a really good deal. And I picked it up and oh my gosh, was it amazing. It is so good. It is so good. I opened this last week, so it's a screw top bottle. So it is resealable, which you know we love here on this channel. Okay, sorry, I got distracted pouring wine. So it's been open for a little bit and it has affected the taste a little bit. It's a little bit more acidic now, but it's still perfect. Well, not perfect. It is still really, really good. And when I opened it, oh my God, it was perfect. It was perfect. What does it say on the back? Unique cherry and raspberry flavors, which is kind of true. It does bring kind of a dark, jammy kind of consistency. I poured kind of a lot in my glass because I like it so much. Can you see it? It is a really dark ruby or garnet color. I'm a little confused because I have a ruby ring. I'll show you guys one time. I have a ruby ring and it's a really dark red, but then I heard that rubies are actually supposed to be a little bit more pinky. I don't know. And garnets are the ones that are like blood red. So I'm a little confused on that. Fill me in the comments below. But so for this looks like my ruby ring. It's a really ruby red, and yeah. Now it's a little bit more acidity, a little bit more acidic, and it's a little bit more acidic now compared to when I first opened it. When I first opened it, it was not as acidic. It was a little softer. But overall, this wine is what I love so much about Pinot Noirs. And I have to say, Pinot Noirs are my favorite. And this wine in particular is a great example of why I love Pinot Noirs. They are kind of, they're not, I don't like the ones that have too much spice in them. I don't like the ones that say with a hint of tobacco. I'm kind of like, tobacco tastes like shit. Why do you want to drink that? But anyway, so yeah, I don't know why anyone would want to drink anything that tastes like tobacco. But I don't like anything that's like that or like that. But at the same time, it's not sweet. It's still a little acidic, you know. It's not or a little dry, I should say, rather than acidic. It's not too sweet, but it's also not too acidic. It's right there in that sweet spot in between, where it's kind of like this wine is not sweet enough for me. It's sweet enough that I can enjoy drinking it, but it's dry enough that I can take it seriously, you know? It doesn't taste like a beginner wine, like one of those wine coolers that people start out drinking when they're teenagers. But it feels a little bit more grown up than that. But at the same time, it's not intimidating. It's very easy to access. It's very friendly, you know? This one in particular, I agree with what the back label says. Cherry and raspberry notes. I taste a little bit more cherry. It reminds me a little bit, I have a jar of unsweetened cherry jam downstairs, and this reminds me a little bit of that. I would love to drink this with that cherry jam. I think it would be perfect. And then a little Havarti cheese, just like toast a bread really, really lightly, toast a slice of wheat bread really lightly, spread some of that unsweetened cherry jam, put some Havarti cheese on top, and then this, And then, of course, you have to have a book while you read it, while you eat it and drink this. You know what I mean. There's also a little sexiness to it because it's a little darker. It's that little hint of, because it's not really sweet, so that little hint of tartness gives it a little extra, you know? Just a little bit of that, just a little bit, you know? It's kind of a Victorian sexiness, you know, where it's kind of like, ooh, he saw my ankle. How scandalous. It's like that, okay? And because of that, and because of everything I've talked about, I am pairing it with a couple of my favorite mysteries, and I will be talking about the first two first, because I've talked about them a lot recently, and they are the Susan Ryland Investigates, the Susan Ryland Murder Mysteries, Susan Ryland Alan Conway Mysteries by Anthony Horowitz. So that is Magpie Murders and Moonflower Murders, and I have just been raving about these on my channel, and I think I've been raving about them since last year, honestly. They are such good twisty murders, and they are so they're so satisfying. That's the only way I can put it. Like, everything just like at the end, everything like just goes like that and fits together, and it's perfect. Chef's kiss. No complaints. 10 out of 10 would read again. But what makes me pair it with this is the character of Andreas. He is Susan Ryland's not exactly boyfriend. In the first book, they're kind of lovers, you know, in the postmodern sense of the term. She doesn't quite want to call him her boyfriend, but they spend weekends together, you know. And he is he's from Crete, and he has that Greek air, you know, that impulsivity, that Greek, you know. All my ladies know what I mean. And I mean, Greek people are beautiful, so, and the Greek culture is beautiful, and Greek wine is amazing. So I can assume, although this isn't a Greek wine, but anyway, the point is that her relationship with Andreas, Susan Ryland's relationship with Andreas, is very like subtle, but also very passionate. It's like very understated, but very passionate, and that reminds me of this wine a little bit, as well as all of the intrigue and sex in the mystery itself, in the story within the story of the book itself. That's a whole other issue. That's a whole other lot of sexual tension. But her relationship with Andreas is just so understated but so sexy, and I love it. It's just the perfect little subplot to the murder mystery, and it just reminded me. And maybe I admit, this is one of those things where I'm not sure if the reason I paired this book with this wine is just because the book is so in my mind, and it maybe is, because I have not been able to get this book off my brain. It has been living rent-free in my brain for the past few months, and I can't complain. I really wish I had this wine while I was drinking it, while I was reading it. The next book I have talked about a little bit before, but only in a TBR, I think. But that book series is also a book series, is the Rexford and Sloane mystery series. And the first book is I'll put the cover up here for the first book. The first book is Murder at Black Swan Lane, I think is the first book. It's either that or Murder at Half Moon Gate. I forget. I'll put both books up. but one of those two is the first one and the other one is the second one. And this one is about, the premise of the book is that Rexford, Lord Rexford, he is a duke, earl, some mid-level nobleman in English society who is a bit of a playboy, a bit of a bad boy, who is very much into science and rationality and modern man, you know, modernity, Isaac Newton, all that, you know, him. So he gets accused of a murder which he did not commit. Like, he knows he didn't commit it. So it's told in partly from his point of view. So he knows he didn't commit it. And so he gets drawn into the investigation trying to clear his name. On the other hand, Mrs. Sloane, Mrs. Charlotte Sloane, I forget what Rexford's first name is. But anyway, because he's almost always called Rexford. Meanwhile, Mrs. Charlotte Sloane is an artist. She's an artist. And she draws satirical art pieces for print. And she's the most, under a pen name, I forget what her pen name is, but under her pen name, her pen name is A.J. Quill. That's her pen name. Under her pen name, she draws satirical art pieces which pokes fun at British high society. So she's an artist, and she's a woman, and she follows her intuition, and all that. And she gets drawn into the murder investigation as well because it is related to the death of her first husband. So the two of them form an unlikely friendship, which of course has simmering undertones of sexual tension. And they get drawn into this murder mystery, and they solve the crime together. They are surrounded by a group of ragtag friends. Some of them are street urchins, some of them are infamous second sons of families, you know? The second sons who don't quite have inheritances yet, you know? Them. So they have this group of friends who help them out, and they solve the mystery together, and then the two of them form an unlikely friendship, and there is that simmering undertone of sexual tension, which is beautiful to read about. It's beautiful. I love it. They actually, throughout the series, they get closer and closer together, and I can't wait for these two to get together. I really need these two to get together. I mean, really need these two to get together. I think they will get together in the next book, so I'm looking forward to reading the next book. I think I am on book 4 now, and there are 6 books in the series in total so far. I think it's an ongoing series. I don't think they've ended it yet. I don't think the author, Andrea Penrose, has ended it yet. There. But so these are the books that I've paired with this beautiful, jammy, fruity, sexy wine. I love this wine. I love this wine so much. I want to share this wine with my friends. You know, when I first opened this wine, it reminded me of one of my good friends in the Netherlands, and I was like, I wish I was opening this bottle with her. She visited me recently, and I was just like, why didn't I know about this wine back then? And I want to share it with my boyfriend. I'm just like, I want to spend an evening with him reading our books and drinking this. And this wine has, sorry, I hope you didn't hear that. This wine has restored my faith in wines for the new year, because I kind of had given up. Although to be fair, I'd had a good run last year with new wines, but I was kind of not planning on buying any new wines. I was kind of like, I have so many stock. I haven't gotten through my old stock yet, and you know, but I impulse bought it, and it is such a good impulse buy. It was such a good impulse buy. I have no regrets. Do I ever regret buying a wine? I do, when it's bad. But this was very good. So that is my wine and book pairing. Welcome to the new year. Cheers. and stay tuned. I will be dialing back down my posting of wine and book nights. I won't be doing I think I used to do it every 2 weeks or so. I think I will be dialing it back down this year, down to like special occasions or whenever I get a new wine that I really want to talk about. Mostly for economic reasons, because I'm not able to buy as many new wines as I want to. But also just for reasons that I don't want to like, I was getting a little bit burnt out by always having to produce the series, and I was kind of pushing some of the pairings. It didn't feel natural. The pairings didn't feel natural, you know? And I don't want to reach that point just for the sake of producing content. So for now, this is the wine and book pairing for January. I hope to pick up another wine in time for Valentine's Day. So hopefully we'll have a new wine on terms of Valentine's Day. And until then, keep reading, keep drinking wine, and cheers.